Okay, question and answers. Well, I'm cutting this really late too. Been busy all day. I wanted to hang in my guest room. I wanted to take the TV stand out and hang the TV on the wall to have more walking space in there. And my back started acting up, and it was downright embarrassing. Laying on the floor and I can't get up. And so anyway, thanks for all the suggestions. I'm taking ibuprofen right now, and I think it's starting to feel better. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm supposed to play golf in the morning. We'll see. Okay, questions. Scott Kamek, I think Kamek, SunPass toll road situation. Well, the SunPasses, you can get them about anywhere down here. You can go to CVS Pharmacy, I think. I think somebody told me they went to Walgreens, and I don't know who all sells them. Truthfully, I don't have one. And you can load them up. You can put $50 on it, whatever you think you're going to need. And they do come in handy if you run the toll road, because just outside the villages over here, when you're on 75, if you're going to Orlando, that's where the toll road starts. It's just down the road, really down here. And then you take that down in Orlando, whatever you want to do. The question you had, though, was, do you need it? No. I don't have one. There's toll booths set up. You can just, pay your tolls as you go down the road. And there's a lot of those, when you exit a ramp, there usually is a basket, a toll basket, for if you don't have a SunPass. There'll be a SunPass lane, and then there's a cash lane. And a lot of those cash lanes are not manned. And when you pull up to them, it tells you how much you owe. You throw the money in the basket and then just go on. But another way to get to Orlando from here is right up here at Spanish Springs, 27 and 441. If you stay on 441, it takes you right downtown Orlando. Or you can stay on 27, and that's the road I take a lot to go to Disney World. You just take 27 down there, and when it gets down, I wish I could tell you the name of the road, but pretty much 27 just kind of comes to an end, kinda. And it exits off, it makes a cloverleaf around, and it comes down on, I want to say it's something like 192, and you stay on 192, and it brings you up to pretty close to Highway 4. But right before Highway 4, you got to get in the left lane, and you'll see a sign there saying Disney World. It's just a small sign, too. You turn left right there. And when you turn left right there, you're on Disney property. And that's the way I go. But if you want to get a SunPass, they're easy peasy to get them anywhere you want to go. Susan L., what's the population after they did the consensus? I think you could probably Google this, but I think it's said 120,000 now, reportedly 120,000, and growing by leaps and bounds. So as of right now, about 120,000. That's all I can really tell you. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's about what it is. Cheryl B., our villa area is empty in the summertime. Well, Cheryl, let me just say this. From Sumter Landings north, almost all of the patio villas and almost all of the courtyard villas there are 2-bedroom. And the way they're designed, literally, I can't say enough about them. They're perfect for a snowbird. Somebody that's coming down in the winter and going home in the summer. The lots are small. They're easy to take care of. It doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to hire somebody to mow your grass during the summer and all that kind of stuff. And if you decide not to come down in the winter, which there was winters that I didn't come down, they're easy peasy to rent out and make a little bit of income off of them. And if you stay with age appropriate people, and I always recommend that to people, this is a retirement community. This ain't a place for kids. So if you rent it out to age appropriate people that come down here in the winter, and if you rent them out for 2 and 3 months at a time, that person's probably retired, right? Because a kid has to go to work. I never had a problem. Never had a problem, not one time. I hear all these nightmare stories from people, and I sometimes wonder, exactly what they done that was wrong, but I can only tell you I never had a problem one time, and I rented them to people in Canada every year. I rented people in England in October of every year. I've rented to people really around the world, and I never had a problem the first time. No damages, no nothing. And so I think if you do it right, you won't have a problem. But yes, they do get empty in the summer. I'm going to use this number. This is not a known number. This is not a scientific number. This is my experience being here. I'm going to guess approximately in any villa area from, say, 466 north, you're going to find that I'm going to say at least 50% of those villas are empty in the summer. Maybe even some neighborhoods could be more than that, could be upwards of 65%. That's not to say some people don't live there full time, because they do. And you can easily live in them, especially if you're a single person. You can easily live in them full time. Now, when you start getting down here, south of 466A, there's a few of them up north there, but not near as many as there are down here. 3-bedroom villas. They started making that a big number down here. 3-bedroom villas with 2-car garages, not a car and a half. And I've been through a few of them, courtyards that are 3-bedroom, 2 cars. I ought to do a video on one or two so you can see what I'm saying. They're gorgeous inside. They're just gorgeous. I could live in them full time without any problems whatsoever. Yeah, they're just great. So the ones down here, you might find more full-timers living in them than part-timers, only because of 3-bedroom and 2-car garages, that kind of thing. But yeah, be prepared if you do buy a villa, no matter where you buy one. This is something you want to talk to your realtor about. Ask them these questions. They should really be more knowledgeable about a lot of this than me. But I would say just be prepared for the villa neighborhoods to be a lot more empty during the summer than the average neighborhood, only because of the way they're built, and they're just perfect for a part-timer. So yeah, me personally, it wouldn't bother me. I enjoy the quiet. Steve W. wanting to know if there's any gardens. Can you have a garden? Steve, I've had this question asked me before, and I looked at my deed restrictions. I don't see any restrictions saying I can't have a garden. Most people here don't, because it's so hot in the summer. I mean, unless you've been down here in the summer, you just can't imagine how hot it is. And even the plant nurseries around here in the summertime, they have this this covering that's on these big long poles, and they cover literally acres and acres to keep the direct sun off their plants, because it just burns them up. So I'm going to say that's why most people don't have a garden, is because, one, you don't have soil. It's all sand. You can put soil in there, but it doesn't last long. It disappears. And two is it's so hot that things like tomato vines, cucumbers, if that's the stuff you're talking about raising, they just won't make it in the sun. It just bakes them. But I do know that we have some people here that have, I'll say, pot gardening. They have lemon trees, grapefruit trees, orange trees, all in these big pots. And they sit in there by the lanai, or they sit maybe around the house, and they seem to do fine. If I was going to put a few tomato plants up, maybe, or maybe a cucumber plant or two, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, maybe something like that. I think I'd try to find a shady side of my house that stays cooler, and try to work it that way, maybe. Work them in your flower beds, maybe. Only thing I can say is good luck. But I do know that south of 44, as you head down to Finney on the right-hand side, there's an agricultural area that's been designated, and they haven't really said exactly what, but from what I've read and from what the real estate people's told me, I do believe that's going to be garden areas that people can either rent, or I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but there's a big section that, yeah, there's going to be garden areas for people to use. Felipe Hartwell, are there any homes $250,000 or under? Absolutely. Just as many as you want to look at. It just depends on, what's important to you. Do you have to have a 2-car garage? Do you have to have a this or a that? And that's a view. Around here, you're going to pay for a view. If you want to look out your back lanai and not see a neighbor behind you, it's going to cost you. If you want to look out your lanai and look out over a lake, have a lake view, it's going to cost you. But if you aren't interested in a view or anything like that, you can buy a brand new house. They got them down at Finney right now. Get on the website for the Villages where it says homes, villages.com. Click on where it says homes, and up at the top where it says something where you can, type in stuff. Type in Wisteria, Wisteria. It's a Wisteria home. They're 3-bedroom, 2-car garages. They've got them down brand new down at the Finney right now for, I looked at them today, $218 all the way up to $240 something, I think. So there's your brand new home for less than $250. But also, if you don't want to do that, just kind of leaf through all the pre-owned homes they've got on that website, and you'll find, I don't know how many, but you're going to find quite a few of them in the different areas of the Villages for under $250,000. So sure, go shopping, get a cup of coffee. You'll see all kinds of stuff on there. Phil and Chris about wanting to know if there's any boating around here. Well, I'm going to say no, not the kind you're talking about. Inside the Villages, our lakes are restricted, and they have dragon boats up at Sumter Landing, but that's an organized event. They have kayaks in different areas where they set them up, especially for the camp villages. When the grandkids come down, they have a thing for a month or two called Camp Villages. You sign your kids up and they set kayaks out and teach them how to kayak. And people here do kayak. But you can't just willy-nilly go out there and just throw your boat in the lake. They've got a couple open areas here where they are open to the public. I wouldn't want to put a boat out there. That's just me. It's a swamp. It's just nothing that I'd want to put a boat on. But around the Villages, there are many lakes that butt right up to the Villages. Lake Deaton is one of them. That's a public accessible lake. It's a pretty good sized lake. Matter of fact, I go duck hunting on that lake every year because some of the houses that border Lake Deaton, people's been complaining about their guns going off at 5 o'clock in the morning. But you know what? You should. What do you think? I mean, it's a public lake, and you buy a house on a lake, and then you complain about the boat noise. But anyway, Lake Deaton's one. Lake Griffin is another one. I don't know if they have any restrictions on the size of boat motors and all that, but I do know several people that have fishing boats, and they go to Lake Griffin to go fishing. I don't know exactly where Lake Griffin is, but I know it's close. And then there's another lake, I can't think of the name of it because me and my wife went there. Penasovsky is a good sized lake. That's not too far from here, maybe by car, I'm going to say 15 minutes from here. And then you got Mount Dora over there that has a really good sized lake over there. Being near water and having a boat is a big thing that you want to do. Villages may not be for you. You may consider one of these other towns that's got, big lakes and all this and that. If you want to be near the ocean or the Gulf, get prepared to write the big check. Because the closer you are to the water, the beach, the more the houses are going to cost. And then the closer you get to the water, there's a certain range to that water, and I don't know what it is, that hurricane insurance is mandatory. And you're going to have to pay for that too. So just keep all that in mind. Bob Parsons wants to know about bonds and how it works. Bob, I don't know exactly how that works. I know kinda how it works. I don't know all the mathematics that goes into it, but I know the basics. And I also know there's a guy on YouTube, and I don't know his name, I'm sorry. He explains exactly how bonds works. I've seen his video, and it's very informative. Maybe somebody else out there may know what it is. If you can, leave a comment below, and maybe Bob can find that. It basically works like this, that they have a section. Let's take Finney, for example. They have a section called Finney that they want to develop, and they submit plans. It's going to be a 500-acre development. It's going to have 2,500 homes built, and this and that. And they draw a plan. We're going to have roads that goes in this way and that way, and we're going to have golf cart trails, and we're going to have, you know, blah blah blah, this stuff. Well, Florida law says that I want to say the amenities, but really not the right word, has to be in place first. By that I mean the sewer lines, the water lines to put water in your house, the roads. I can't think of the fire hydrants for the fire department, the electricity, because everything here is underground. You will not see a telephone pole around here, and I love that. I hated the telephone poles in Indiana, and they don't have them here. So all the electrical lines underground's got to be in place. All that's got to be done first before they can start building that first house. Whatever that costs for that area, let's say it costs, I don't know, $5 million. And let's say they're going to build 2,500 homes. And I know my numbers here is going to be way off, so don't quote these numbers. They divide the number of homes into that amount that's going to cost, and they come up with this figure, and that's the bond that you're going to pay. And then they sell bonds to get the money to, obviously, to put this stuff in, and then you're going to pay them back, the bond money back. And the way the bond is set up is 30 years, and I believe it's like 5% interest, something like that. And you pay it at the same time you pay your property taxes. It all comes in together. So I always tell people, when you come down here, the first thing you want to do, and I mean ASAP, is get your ass up to the tax office and get your man, my brain ain't working today. To get your sign up for your the different breaks that you get on your real estate fees, your homesteads, your veterans, your over 65, disability, all these things you sign up for, and you get a better rate on your property taxes. And I'm sorry that I'm not wording this correctly. I'm just tired, but yeah, get that done. I mean, get it done ASAP, because that helps your property taxes considerably. Mine here run, I think, and boy, I'm dumb to this too, because my wife pays them. When I come home, really, if I got beer in the refrigerator and I turn the lights on, I got electricity, and I got my TVs working, I'm a happy camper. I don't pay much attention to anything else. As far as I know, my wife's got a nest egg somewhere with a ton of money in it. I wouldn't even know. But anyway, that's how they come up with the bond amount. It's spread, and then you pay on it. And on the bonds, you can pay it off anytime you want. If you would rather not do the bond, you can pay it off anytime you want. Here's the thing, though, about bonds. It is what it is. You can take the good, you can take the bad. Most people don't pay the bonds off, and I'll tell you why. We'll take my house, for example. Let's say my house is worth $250,000 right now. And if I was going to put it on the market, that's what we would ask, $250,000. I know you can play this game with the real estate guy. Say, well, I want to ask $265,000, and then somebody will come along and I'll sell it for $250,000. And you know, I'm not a tire kicker. So let's say I sell it for $250,000. Okay, and then there's the bond. Whatever I got left on a bond will go with that. Now let's take my same house, and here's a different scenario. Let's say I paid my bond off. I paid it off the day I bought this house. I went up and just paid the bond off. I didn't want it. My bond was, say, $20,000. Now, I got really to come out with the same money. I have to put my house up for sale for $270,000, not $250,000. My back. You're coming down here. You're looking at houses. You see my house for $270,000. You're going to see another guy's house for $250,000. It's the same house. See what I'm saying? just keep that in mind. If you're going to be here until you're dead, you want to pay it off, don't want to worry about it, pay it off. But you don't have to if you don't want to, but you can. So that's what I know about bonds. Michael Brown. Took him 3 years to convince his wife to come to the Villages. They've wintered 2 years now in Naples. Great place. And he's wanting to know if it took me that long to convince Sue. No, Mike. And let me just say, if it's taken you 2 years to convince your wife to come to the Villages, maybe you shouldn't be coming to the Villages, because it sounds like she's happy where she's at. And if she is, all you're going to do is bring her up here, and there's a good chance she ain't going to like it, and you're going to pay the price. If you know what I mean. If you want to come up and just visit or whatever, that's fine. But, I mean, if she likes it and want to move here, that's fine too. I'm just saying, you know, that if she's happy where she's at, maybe you just not worry about coming up here. But no, me convincing Sue, no. When we discovered this place a long time ago, and we came here, and we drove around, we checked it out, and we played here for many, many years. We bought our first place here. There was no convincing her. I'll tell you what's going to take convincing is if the day comes that I need to move back to Indiana, or let's say I find another retirement place somewhere around Florida somewhere that I like better than here, trying to convince her to move out of here. And that's not going to be an easy job. I'm not sure I'll even get that job done. I was kidding with her the other day and said, well, you never know. I said, I may have to move back to Indiana because of doctors and whatever. And my wife said, well, you'll know where to find me when you want me. Nah, we're not going anywhere. We're staying here as long as we can anyway. So, no, I did not have to convince Sue at all. We always knew when we retired where we were going. I'm just saying, if you've got to convince your wife, let me just say, you've got to live with her. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Liz Bertello. Do I have any neighbors that have swimming pools that were built in their house, bird cages, and what about the maintenance? I assume you're talking about the maintenance on the pools. Matter of fact, you mentioned that. 2 houses down from me, a lady's having a new pool put in now. Putting in a pool in your house, it's a process. It's going to take I think she told me, from the time that they signed the order to have a pool put on their house. Of course, you know, there's certain rules and regulations you have to go by on getting a pool. You just can't willy-nilly throw a pool in. First of all, you got to go to the ARC. You got to let them know who's doing it. Give them a plan of what it's going to be, how it's going to be, so on and so forth. They got to approve it first thing. Once they approve it, then the company can start doing what they got to do. But it ain't going to get done right away. You got to remember, they're building thousands of homes down here. People are moving in right and left, and these contractors around here and all these yard maintenance people, birdcage people, pool people, they're backed up. They can't keep up with the orders. You're going to wait in line, just like going to Starbucks. You're going to wait in line. And they already told her it'd probably be at least 6 months before they got her pool done. Now, they come over and they work a little bit one day, and then they work a little bit the next day, and then they don't show up. There's a lot of processes involved. Let me give it to you real quick. You got a house. You got to have a corner lot, basically, to put a pool in. Not always, but generally you need a corner lot. That's why corner lots are in high demand. They got to move your water sprinklers right off the get-go, because they're going to be in the way when they dig that hole for that pool. Then they got to call the electric company to have them come out and move the electric access to your house probably out of the way, because everything's buried underground. And then they're going to come in and they got to put up a wall, because that's going to be required. Then they're going to dig a hole. Then, it's a process to get this thing done. So they're costly. By the time she gets done with hers with the brick wall, and then they got to bird cage it in. Of course you're going to bird cage it in at your house. The bird cage is probably the cheapest thing of the whole pool process, and it keeps the bugs And not that we got a lot of bugs, but we do have love bug season. If you don't know what that is, Google it. Last couple of years hasn't been so bad, but then they have years where it's kind of like them damn crickets. Locusts, I mean. You have years of locusts that are worse than others. Well, the same thing about the love bugs. And you don't want them in your pool, really. So I'm going to guess that having the pool put in and all that kind of stuff, and by the time they get done tiling the floor and everything, man, we're probably looking, I don't know. I have no idea. If I'd take a stab in the dark, I'd say probably somewhere $30,000 and $40,000. Maybe a little less. I haven't talked to Joni. She's the one who's having it put in. I could ask her if I see her, but I never see her. Maintenance-wise, you know, I guess what I feel about it is if you can afford a $40,000 swimming pool add-on to the side of your house, who gives a shit about the maintenance? There ain't no maintenance other than the guy coming in and cleaning the pool, I suppose, and putting chemicals in your water to keep it clean. You know, that's going to cost you $100 a month to come around. I see them out here doing it all the time. Yeah, I got several neighbors with pools. Several neighbors. Even though we've got, I don't know how many pools that are free to you to use as a resident. They're all over the place. Pools are everywhere. And as a resident, you can use any one of them anytime you want. Well, except at night. You can't use them after dark. And, yeah, we got a lot of them. Most of them have, they got their personal reasons, I guess, why they want a pool. You know, if you got the money, sure, why not? I'd like to have a hot tub. That's all I care about, hot tub. I got my personal reasons for that. I like to have a hot tub. But yeah, pools are great. If you can afford them, get them in, put them in. Yeah, the maintenance on them is no big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. Getting the pool put in is a big deal. But the maintenance on the pool